Good morning, stamping friends. I'm so happy you're joining me today for my YouTube Live. We are on, let's see, week 5 of our 6 weeks of birthdays. So there's only 2 weeks left, and I'm so glad that you're hanging in there with me because it's just been a lot of fun offering the free PDFs for those who sign up for my newsletter. That's how you will get the PDF for these projects. So today we are going to do a project that is something other than a card. It's a cute little bag. So I'm going to turn my camera around and share with you today's project. The first project we're going to make is a cute little gift bag, and I want to show you where I found the paper. It's in the back of the catalog, which by the way is only good through April. On May 1st we will have a new annual catalog. So you're going to want to grab all the things that you see in here that you like, because some of these things will not be rolling over into the new catalog. So on page 90, you'll see that if you host a party, or even if your own order is over $150, then you qualify to purchase this. It's very discounted. You get 48 12 by 12 sheets for only $18. It's a $30 value, so it's really a great deal. But these are all the papers that come in here, and they're so pretty because there's many florals, but on the other side you can find more of the geometric or kind of more little more subtle prints, and there's kind of something for everyone in this paper pack. Now, Joey designed this project. However, the paper she used were these two down here, and I have already used this up. I didn't know she was going to plan this one using this paper, so I had to substitute this. So when you see the PDF, because Joey Hartman, the partner I'm doing this little 6 weeks of birthday series with, she used this paper, but I am going to use something else because I used up all that green and white striped. Most of them went for my taco projects. So that's why it's going to be different on the PDF than what you see, but the design is all the same, so it doesn't matter what paper you use. All right, I'm going to actually pull my scoreboard over here because I want to show you how we're doing this. To make the paper bag, we're going to cut 2 sheets of the same paper, 10 by 10. So I've already cut them for you, and then I'm going to score. Actually, I want to use, this is right. I want to use this as the main part. So pick which side you want to be the front of your bag, like most of this is showing, and the opposite side is going to be the part that is going to make a little flap. So, and then you might even want to decide which side you want up and down, you know what I mean? Okay, so I want this to be the main part of my bag, and I want this to be the little lip that flips down. And so whatever side that is, you're going to score at 1 inch. Well, I want the pattern to go across that way, so I'm going to turn this and score at 1 inch. So take your pick tool and use the scoring ball on the end and just score at 1, and then all the rest are going to be at 2. So 3 sides will be at 2 inches. 1, 2, 3. And now we want to do the identical thing on this sheet. So I got to make sure I got them the right way. Okay, this is going to be the top that is down 1 inch. Whoops. Yep. Yeah, this is the 1 inch mark that we did. So I want this side to be identical, 1 inch here. This part is a little bit confusing, but if you don't care what the flip down part looks like, then this won't matter. Okay, so 1 inch along there, and I know you can't even see the score lines because it's kind of a busy print, but you'll be able to feel them. So I'm doing the other 3 sides at 2 inches, okay? Now, let's pull this over, and you'll definitely need your bone folder for this. So the first thing we're going to do is fold that one that has the 1 inch mark, and just make a nice crease. Your bone folder will be your best friend in this project. And then the rest we're going to fold, and that's going to be 2 inches. So I could have went opposite, but I wanted the flowers at the top. I'm more of a geometric than a floral person. Whoops, let's do this side then. Like that. And then the last side should be at 2 inches again. Kind of feel where it is. There we go. Now let's do the identical thing to this side. First thing is to find that 1 inch side. Okay. And then we'll do the rest with the 2 inch side. There's lots of colors to work with in this print. That's why I like it so much. And I do have some birthdays coming up. These are more fun to give than just a white bag with, you know, pink tissue or whatever. It's more fun to have a kind of a gifty bag. And you know what? This is a really good way to use up the designer series paper for me, especially once things retire and I tend not to use it as much. That's when I'm gonna, you know, need projects like how can I use up all this DSP so I can make room for the new. All right, now what I'm gonna suggest that you do is take your multi-purpose liquid glue and just glue this down. It'll just help so it stays in place. And if you prefer the other kind of glue, you can, but I just had this one handy, so just hold it for a few seconds. And then we'll do the same thing with this top part that flips down. I bet you could do this for any size bag, just so it's square, and just figure out how thick or how tall you want your bag to be. But it's kind of a basic pattern that will work for a lot. I would like to try a mini one as well. All right, now the next thing we're gonna do is take paper snips, and we are just gonna snip up. I know you really can't see this in the video, but or in the camera, but we're gonna cut on that score line. It's at 2 inches. Same with this one. Oh man, this is really hard to see, even with me really close to it. Right there. And then we'll do the exact same thing on this piece. I wonder if it'll be easier. Yeah, I think I could see it easier on the light side. Hold that again so I can see where that crease is. You probably could do it on your paper trimmer if you wanted, but all right, now what we're going to do is form 2 half boxes, and the way we're going to do that is by just adding adhesive down here. And I think, you know what, for this one I'm going to use my Stamp and Seal Plus because I want this to dry instantly. But if you have a little bit of time, you can use your multi-purpose liquid glue. It just takes a little bit longer to adhere. And just put it on the side that is the front of your box. Put it on the 2 squares there, and then just lift them up like they're gonna make a box, or half a box I should say, and just make sure these edges are together, or they line up on the crease there. It's okay if they overlap a little bit like that, or if it's not straight like that. Okay, now we're gonna do that to the other side. We're just gonna keep doing all these things symmetrical. I've never made a box like this. I was kind of excited to see how these are done. Let's do the same thing. Just make sure the edge goes to the crease line, and same with this one. There we go. All right, now we're going to adhere these together. Now for this one, I definitely want my multi-purpose liquid glue because we want the edges up here at the top to be in line with each other, and sometimes we have to kind of maneuver them. So what I'm going to do is choose one of them, and this is going to have all the glue on. So we're going to put some on the bottom here, and then down on both sides. But the starting point when we put these together is going to be the top. Whoops, that needs to, I can go back and do that too. We want it's really important to get the top edges straight, you know what I mean? So just kind of put one inside the other, like that. Make sure this one's on the inside. Okay, now make sure that these are in line at the top like that. And then just start with one side. And what I do is I kind of get the edges right, make sure the top is right, and then I set it down, and then I start kind of pinching it together by setting it down so I can run my finger in there. Don't worry about the other side yet, it doesn't dry that fast. Okay, now we're gonna do the same with this side. And I want the top edges to be lined up. I hope you can see it. See how I have them lined up there? And then now you worry about this part. Make sure these sides are together and set it on its side and just rub your finger in there like that. And then the last one is we want the bottom to stick. So just kind of stick your hand in there and press down on the bottom like that. Okay, that was pretty easy. There is our box. Now we just have to put a little handle on there, and it really doesn't matter if you want, let me show you the pieces I have left. Because I cut 2 pieces of paper, I'm gonna have 2 12" because remember, again, 2 pieces of paper. And then when I made the second slice, they're 10 inches each. So it depends on what size you want. If you want a shorter handle, go ahead and use this. If you want the longer handle, I think I'll do the longer. Now you have to decide, do you want it to be the color of the top of the bag, or do you want it to be more the color of the main bag? I'm going to do it the color of the main bag because I like this to stand out a little bit more, and I like all the bright colors in there. So I'm just going to put maybe about a 1/2 inch of, or how do I say it, put it up a 1/2 inch into the designer series paper, and then just kind of center it in the middle of the bag is all you have to do. And then I kind of flip it down to make sure it's going kind of straight in there. Hold that down, and I'm going to flip it over and do the other thing. But one thing I probably should have done first is just kind of take your bone folder and help it curve like that just a little bit. And now let's add some glue to this side. Put it up about a 1/2 inch again from the edge. And we'll do the exact same thing. Try to go kind of in the middle of it. Looks pretty good. And I'll set it down and press and make sure it's kind of straight in there. And that's really all there is to this bag. And this bag again is 2 inches deep. Isn't that cute? Now we're just going to doctor this up a little bit. As we continue our 6 weeks of birthday projects, we are going to introduce a new stamp set that we're using called Best Day. And you can find this in the mini catalog on page 67. Isn't this adorable? I did not get this my first round of orders. I kind of overlooked it. There was so much in this catalog, but it really is cute, and they have cute examples as well. So that's where you can find that. It's $23, and there are 8 stamps in that. So it's always nice to have some different kinds of birthday cards or birthday stamp sets on hand. We are going to start with basic white thick paper. This is actually the thick paper, cut at 4 1/4 by 11. And then we'll just score it in half on the long side at 5 1/2 inches. And again, use your bone folder to make that crisp edge. And we will set that aside. Now we are going to build the base of our card front. We're going to take fresh freesia, and this is 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And then, do you remember when I told you about those pieces that we cut off from the bag? This is 2 inches. I think this is the 10-inch piece. We are going to cut this down, which I already did, but we're going to trim it down to 1 3/4 on this side. And then we're going to cut out 2 pieces that are 1 3/4 by 3 inches, 3 inches, and then 2 that are 2 inches. So you'll have 2 that are 1 3/4 by 3 inches and 2 that are 1 3/4 by 2 inches. And I have done that right here. All right, now we want to set this up on here, but before you adhere it, I want you to set it up so you can get your margins or your borders equal. Now, don't worry so much about the inside border. It's more the, whoops, I need to make them offset. So we want them, you know, the same pattern diagonal from each other. And then this one will go over here. And we're actually going to butt these 2 up to each other like this. And then same with this one. So like I said, just worry more about the outside edges and not the inside, because most of the inside is going to be covered up. All right, I think that looks pretty good. If you have to overlap it a little bit up here, it's all right. Okay, so let me start by gluing this one down. I'll just glue these one by one. Have you guys enjoyed the 6 weeks of birthday series? You'll have to comment what were some of your favorite projects. Sometimes it boils down to the stamp sets that we use, but sometimes it's the project, and there's just been a nice variety. It was fun to work with Joey on this. And like I said, if you would like the PDF to this so that you can print it or save it on your computer, I like saving them, because then if you ever go back and you say, okay, I want a fun fold or a different project that I haven't done for a while, you can always go back in your PDFs and have maybe a storage system set up for those, like 3D projects or fun folds. But sometimes with videos, they get lost and you can't remember where you saw them and stuff like that. Although Pinterest helps in that area, but I just like to save PDFs. And all my projects that I've done from the past, usually I do PDFs for them. And so they're all on my computer. All right, so that takes care of that part. Now this part is going to be adhered to the front of the card. So I guess we can go ahead and do that right away. And just center this on the front. You can see that this is going to coordinate with the bag that we made because I'm using the same papers. Whoops, then I tilted it right at the end. That's the beauty of the liquid glue, because you can still kind of maneuver it a little bit before it catches hold. All right, then the next thing I did was I took our Scallop Contours die set and I die cut fresh freesia, and this little die is about 4.5 inches by 3.25 inches, and we are just going to put this on the card front, and we can do this right away as well. 4 dimensionals should do it, and it's going to be fun how we make this coordinate with the bag. You'll soon see. So you can see most of this is covered up. We're just making a little border around the edge of it. All right, now we're going to do the birthday part in the center. So set this aside and grab a basic white piece of cardstock. This is, I know this is an odd dimension, but it's 2 5/8 by 3 7/8. And the reason it's odd is because it's the dimension that fits right inside these little stitch marks here. Isn't that a cool die that does that? It adds the stitch marks. So that's why it's kind of an unusual dimension. Now we're going to take Memento ink, and we're going to use the little cat that has the little cupcake wrapper beneath him. And we'll just stamp this in Memento black because he will be colored in blends, and just try to center that. Leave some room at the bottom though, because we are going to put a sentiment down there. All right, now I'm going to show you the palette that I'm going to be using for coloring, and they're really fun colors. All I did really was, let me show you again. I just pulled out some colors in here, and aren't they pretty? So I'm going to start coloring this, and then I also am going to use crumb cake for the cat. I know this is different with Joey's, but it's all because I had different paper to work with, but Joey has a total different color scheme on hers. So it's crumb cake, polished pink, what is this one? Tahitian Tide, fresh freesia, and granny apple green. All right, now let's add the sentiment on here, and we are going to use Blackberry Bliss. I want a nice bold color for the sentiment, and this is actually a color that is also in this designer series paper. And then the sentiment I'm choosing is the one that says, "It's the best day because it's your birthday." And I just re-inked this, so it's going to be really dark. Hopefully I can do this not going downhill. All right, that looks good. Now the last finishing touch is that we want to add some bling to this, and I chose some embellishments. I'll show you where they're at in the catalog so you can see. They're actually called Glossy Dots Assortment, and they do have specific names, but they're very close. They're not the colors that I chose in blends, but they are very close. The blue, the purple, and the pink. So we can get away with using these. And let me just pop these on. Usually I like to work in 3s. So let's see, we don't have yellow, so we're either going to use blue. Let's use blue, and let me get my take your pick tool. We'll do a blue one. I think for sure we need purple, and then maybe a pink down here too. Like that. Okay. Now we're just going to adhere this to the front of the card. And I think we can just use our multi-purpose liquid glue because it's right here. And just center that. Isn't that a fun set to work with? Are you guys cat lovers? I've never had a cat as a pet, but I have a little bit of a fear of cats because one of my friends has one, and it always hides under the bed in the guest room, which is where I stay when I visit her. And it always waits till right before I go to bed, and then it grabs at my ankles. And it reminds me of the boogeyman when I'm a kid. So I have that fear of cats for that reason. All right, we are not even done with this card. The next thing is a really fun idea. I'm sure you've probably seen it before, but we are going to take a clear envelope, and these are found. Can you see that? I know it's kind of clear and you can't see maybe that well. And I'm going to show you where they're at in the catalog because some people don't even know that we have these. Let's see, page, right here, page 137 is where our envelopes are. And I have to tell you a silly story because you can see that I have medium envelopes, basic white highlighted because I was doing a retreat and I ordered I needed a ton of these. I would say probably 75 packs or maybe even 100. And I did it on a free shipping day because Stampin' Up! Offered that. And I thought, I'm going to wait to order these until then. So I ordered, say it's 100 of them. Guess what? I looked over here in envelopes and I ordered the basic white envelopes here, which are smaller than these. So I got 100 packs of these. Oh my gosh. And wouldn't you know, it's for a huge event. So I had to ship them all back on my dime because it was my mistake and then reorder these. So I said, this is not happening again. I'm highlighting it so I make sure because those are usually the ones I get. All that to say, right beneath that one, it is our clear envelopes. You get 50 for only $6. So it's really a great deal. When I do swaps, I put them in here. If I ever want something protected, when I do my classes, I usually put them in here because sometimes, you know, people are handling them and they might accidentally drop it in an ink pad or whatever. So anyway, these are protective as well. The other thing we're going to need is my Stampin' Trimmer. And all you're going to do is, we don't want this flap on because if we put that down, it's just going to mess up the front of our card. So we're just going to slice it right where the top of this meets the back so that they're both the same size at the top. And I guess that puts it at about 5 3/4 inches if you look over here on the left side. So just, whoops, that was a scoring tool. Use the blade and toss that. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab some glue dots and put these on the, well, I was going to say the back side. There is not a front and a back on a clear envelope. And just take your pick tool and it helps when these come off. And we're just going to put them in all 4 corners. And, you know, you could use your Stampin' Seal, but we don't want them to show very much because we are going to slip the card off. Or a card in here, and then when you take the card out, you don't want to see all these big streaks of Stampin' Seal. So, all right, so just 4 little ones on the back side, and now we're going to grab our bag, and we are going to kind of center this. I got to stand again so I can see, and just lay that flat on there, and then pinch where the dots are. You might have to put your hand in there because you don't want that to come off. And this makes a nice little pouch to put our little card in here so that when you say happy birthday and you write on their card, you don't even need an envelope, but it actually dresses up your gift bag. And it coordinates with that. Isn't that cute? Like that. Now there's just one missing thing that we need on here. We need a little bow on here to dress this card up. So let's set that over here, and I'm going to show you how I make my bows. Now, there's a little story behind this one too. I'll do a little plug for my Cozy Craft Retreat. I've been doing this with my friend Susanna this will be our 8th year this December, and it is one of my favorite events that I do for my customers and team or demonstrators, whoever. But kind of my little niche or my claim to fame is that I like to do personalized things. So all year long, I'm looking for what is that personalized item that we're going to do. So I think it was 2 years ago we did this one. They're little ribbon or bow makers, I should say. And then these are, well, you can buy them online. I do not sell these. I'm sorry. I probably could because I know a lot of people have not seen them, but I don't make and sell them. I just did it for that one-time event, and I am so sorry I don't have time to do this type of thing. But and then I hired a gal to initial our Cozy Craft Retreat, and then everyone got their personalized one. So the nice thing about this is you can move these dowels if you want a small or teeny tiny bow, put them this close together, but I want a big bow because this is a big wide handle up here, and I chose the widest ribbon we have. This is really pretty, and it's very soft and easy to work with, and it is called, I always forget the name of it because it's just called frayed ribbon, and it is basic white. So we're just going to make a really big bow here. So if you have one of these or you ever purchased one, I'll show you how you make it and use this. With a bigger bow you want, or with a wider ribbon, you want a larger bow. So you make like the Cancer symbol like this. Leave enough, however big you want your ends, but you can always trim them down. Then you take the top one and just put it underneath like that, and then pull it around to the front, and then just tie it like this. And then make sure that loop is in the middle, and then just pull. And there's that nice kind of French knot on the, or what do you call it? Square knot, not French knot on the front. And then you can kind of maneuver this. And then I always like to kind of trim this about the same length. So kind of hold them like that and then trim like that. Oops, I need that angle a little bit sharper here. There we go. All right, then you just pop it off and it's a perfect bow every time. All right, now we are gonna put this on here, and I think I might need, let me set it down so you can view it. Let me grab my glue dots again. Here they are. Okay, so I'm gonna put a couple on here just because this bow is ginormous, and that way we can be sure that it'll stick. Okay. And then just put this on the front of the card, or the bag I should say, with the card. And there you have our little gift bag. Isn't that cute? Well, thank you again, Joy, for coming up with that idea. I love it. And I hope you enjoyed this. Remember, I do have a Stampin' Up! Website where you can place orders. And if your order is over $50 and you use the host code, that's important to use the host code. That's how I can earn the freebies that I send out to you as my way of saying thank you. I will send you a thank you card and a little Stampin' Up! Treat in the mail. It's usually a Stampin' Up! Product. And so I would really appreciate your orders, and thank you so much for supporting my Stampin' Up! Business. Well, next week will be the project that I design, and I hope that you join me. I do my YouTube lives every Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock Arizona time. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. We will chat with you guys again next week.